How's everybody doing tonight? Uh, Thank you for joining me tonight. Okay. Can we hear me and see me and all that good stuff? Let's see. Is this even going to work? Oh, okay. It is going to work. Cool. All right. Great. Thank you. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Appreciate you coming out here and joining me tonight on this, what is it, Tuesday? So tonight I thought what we could do is, I don't know, a while back we restrung an electric guitar and did a little bit of work on it, a little bit of adjustments and stuff. And then there was a lot of people that were requesting to do it with an acoustic guitar. So what I want to do here, my acoustic guitar has been kind of neglected. These strings that are on here have been on here for a very long time. I mean, they are super dead sounding. So putting a new set of strings on is always good, but this guitar sat long enough that we're going to be able to kind of go over the whole thing, and we're going to have to do a truss rod adjustment on there. So there's been several people that have asked about that, about doing truss rod adjustments. So we'll be doing that as well. All right. So before we get started, we just kind of go over some of the things that you're going to need to do this. So first, obviously, a set of strings. So I'm trying Diodario. I use Diodario strings all the time, but these are a phosphorus bronze that I don't think I've tried before. Maybe I have, and they just changed the color of the envelope. So thinking that I'm buying something different. And then some kind of a guitar polish. I really like the Gibson brand. It works really well, and it's fairly inexpensive. A 10 millimeter open end wrench, and a Allen key for your truss rod, just depending upon what, they're all different sizes. String winder. This one has a built-in cutter. And then also it's got that little notch there that's for pulling the pins out of the bridge. But this one, I've used it so much that it's wore out and it doesn't grip it anymore. So I just bought a cheap string winder just so I can use the pin puller on it. When this one wears out, throw it away and buy another one. And like some kind of a rag, polished cloth, something or another. This is just an old shirt, and a little pair of needle nose pliers. Hello, Alan. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove all the strings. So like what I talked about before, if you've never changed strings before, or you've only done it, once or twice, just a handful of times, it's not really a good idea to take all of the strings off. And then, because what it is, you don't want the strings are making tension that's pulling the neck this way, and then the truss rod's going the other way. So it's kind of like a little tug of war going on there. If you take the strings off and you leave them off for too long, then you can start having neck issues. So if you've never done this before, don't take off all the strings at once, because it's going to take you a while to get them back on. Now, I'm going to be doing that. One, because I've done this a couple of times, and this fingerboard's dirty. This whole thing is just really filthy. I don't think that I've changed these strings in probably, at least before the pandemic. So, I mean, it's been a couple of years anyway. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the strings. So now you can get these, like you've probably seen the ones that are powered, put a battery in it. They're good, and it's like faster. But again, if you're, you got to be careful, because when you're putting the string, I mean, they're great for taking it off, but when you put the string back on, you got to be careful, because if you tighten a little too much, then snap. Let's see, I already added that one. So how's everybody doing tonight? Let's see, we got a couple of regulars. Anybody out there, this is their first time here? If so, where are you at? Let's do a little roll call while I'm taking these strings off. All right, I think I got those loose enough. All right, so I just loosen them up. Well, maybe not that one. Except I'm going I usually don't do this sitting up. Usually do it like on a bench. One of these days I'm going to figure out a way to use multiple cameras. I've got 2 cameras, but I'm still in the process of trying to figure out how to run 2 of them together this way. Your guitar guy uses that kind, but homemade. You mean the electric one? Like because I've got one, it's a little thing that you can actually put into a cordless drill and do it. That's even scarier because you can really snap stuff off. Oh, Alan, you did see that. Okay, great. That was that Telegram. I'd never heard that song before. It was kind of interesting. It like there was literally no guitar for the first 3.5 minutes of the song. So, but yeah, like, I'd never heard it before. So it was kind of cool. And how I managed to never hear it, I don't know. Oh, come on. All right, there's the last one. Let's see. I have an Ibanez Floyd Rose. Are the strings hard to change fast? Well, anytime you're dealing with a Floyd Rose, it's always like a mega pain in the butt to do anything with them, any kind of a locking tremolo. Some are worse than others. Ibanez has a couple of different designs. The one I've only had one Ibanez. Well, I had two Ibanez Sabres that had Ibanez Floyd Roses on them, and one of them was really awesome. Instead of to tighten the claw on the back of the guitar, it just had a dial. You could just roll it with your fingers, and you could tighten the claw. It was really cool. That one worked really good. I think it was called an Edge. And then the other one was more kind of similar to a Floyd Rose, and it was actually kind of a pain in the butt to change the strings on that. I will be changing. I've got a guitar, a Jackson with a Floyd on it that I need to put new strings on. So maybe I'll do that on here so that way you guys can see. Let's see. BB Concert of Nazareth from '73. Is it on YouTube? Oh, okay. Here's something that you might run into a problem. Well, not a problem, an issue. So my nut, you can see here, it's not staying in place. It's in the little channel that it's supposed to ride in, but it is it's no longer glued down. That's something, if you glue it down, you want to make sure that you've got it in the right place. I mean, you're not going to use, you just use a little bit of wood glue, nothing like mega, just to kind of hold it in place. But I can't remember what happened with this, why I didn't glue it down, but it doesn't matter. After the strings are on the tension, it won't go anywhere. It just can make it a little tricky when you're first putting it back together. Let's see. Do you adjust your own string height? Well, on this, the only way you can really adjust the string height is to actually mess with the saddle itself. And I've already done that in the past and got this where I want it to be. The problem this guitar has now is that it's starting to bulge on the top. So the action's a little bit higher above the 12th fret than I would like it, but it's because it's actually rising up. So there's this thing that I'm going to get for it called a bridge doctor. I'm not sure how they work, but it's something you put in and it kind of just sucks the top back down. So that way that doesn't happen. Do you ever do acoustic lessons? Yep, I do. Today I came across a new brand to me of guitar, Huss and Dalton. Never heard of them. Strumming videos, yeah, I've done stuff like that. If you look on the channel, like if you just search, well, actually on the channel, there's a playlist with my name on. I'm not sure if all my videos are in there, but there's lots of stuff like that on there. Okay, well, we're going to get to that cleaning the fretboard here in just a minute. Okay, so now I've got all the strings off. And of course, they've managed to snag on everything that they possibly can in the near vicinity. Whoops. I hope that didn't cause me a problem. Okay, so I got them up here. Now I'm just going to kind of tie it in a square knot just to kind of keep it organized so it's not flying all over the place. And now this is where you're going to want to remove those pins. So that's what this tool is for. Some of the pins, like this first one, is already coming out. So I was just able to pull it out with my fingers. But what you do is you put the little notch, you just push it right around the bottom. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can zoom in. Maybe one more. And then, oh, wrong way. Okay, yeah, that's a little better. Oh, it's right here in my hand. I was looking for the tool, and here I am holding it. Okay, so I just put that around the edge there. It's still not like where I'd like to be able to have it for you to see it. Boy, this is ideal position to try to work. Come on, let the camera focus. There we go. So you just put it around like that. So the little notch on the bottom is going at the bottom, and you just push it under the pin and kind of pull. I can't hold it up like this and do it, but you push it under there and just kind of work it and it'll just pop out. These pins are tapered. So that way as they go in, they just fit tighter. And then there's like a little groove there. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Yeah, that little groove there is like where the string rides or sits. Well, this one's really, gosh, this one already wearing out too. There we go. Okay, so strings are all out now. Okay, let me just get these buttoned up a little bit so they're out of the way and not in my way. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it up. Trying to get where we can, if you can see, but if you look at that fingerboard, it is pretty gross. It is pretty dirty. I mean, the whole thing, look how much dust is on the headstock. It's been sitting. I just don't play it a whole lot. Okay, so first, I guess we'll go around. So the reason you want the 10 millimeter wrench is because that's what the hex size is of these nuts here on top of your tuners. So you don't want to get on there and really crank it down, but you want to make sure that they are kind of snug. So just kind of, you see how it's loose. So I'm just going to kind of tighten it up. They're usually not this loose, but like I said, I've really neglected this for a long time. I should have brought my other glasses because I'm not going to be able, I can't see up close very good with these ones. All right, so those are all snug down. So now I'm just going to clean the guitar. Now, said normally I'm not doing this sitting it, just with it sitting in my lap. You're doing it on a bench, but again, trying to get it set up so you guys can see. And it looks like that's all the further it's going to let me go, but that's actually pretty good. Actually will work. How do you feel about lemon oil on the fretboard? Yeah, that works great. When I actually use this stuff called fingerboard honey I just like it. It's kind of more, it's kind of a one size fits all kind of a thing. All right, so I'm just going to take the spray and I'm going to put a pretty liberal amount on my fingerboard because it is disgusting. All right, and I'm just going to let that kind of sit there for a minute. So in the meantime, I can just kind of get the front. I love the way this stuff smells too, the Gibson kind. All right, so I'm just going to clean up the body here on the front, which isn't too terribly bad, except right here underneath the strings is pretty bad. This guitar's got a lot of cosmetic damage on it already on the front. Okay, so now that we've kind of let that soak there on the fingerboard for a minute. Yeah, the Gibson polish, I really like it. It's I've been using it for a long time, and I've tried some of the other ones, and not that the other ones aren't good, but this one just it seems to be the best bang for your buck. It's reasonably priced. I think this was $7, $6.99, and it'll last a long time. It's a bigger bottle. They actually increased the size of the bottle. Maybe they just changed the style. I guess I could read the label to see if they actually put more in it. Probably not. Who does that, right? Okay. Yeah. So now I'm just going to go on here and I'm going to kind of scrub in there between the frets because I really want to try to get this cleaned up as much as I can. Now up here on these high frets here, they never really get played because it's pretty hard to get to them. But you can already see it's already starting to turn pretty gunky. About this acoustic guitar, this is a Takamine. I don't remember the model. I think it's a G something or another. I bought this brand new in like, I don't know, 92, 93, something like that. I was teaching at a music store, and I was in the market I'd never had a good acoustic guitar. All the acoustic guitars I'd ever had were just kind of crappy, really cheapy ones. And I wanted to get a good one. Yeah. Look how it's really starting to sing. It's pretty gross. Anyway, this place I worked at was one of the first Taylor dealers in my area. I'd never heard of Taylor. They got Taylors in, and they told me that I should check them out. They're just amazing. Well, all the ones they had didn't have a cutaway, and I really wanted it to have a cutaway. So they were a Takamine dealer too. And I played this guitar and I really liked it. And the price on it was really good. But the thing that kind of irritates me, yeah, that now we're getting into some really dirty country here. That really is kind of upsetting to me now is that if I would have bought the Taylor back then, they were literally like a fraction of what they cost now. Um, when I bought this guitar, I paid I can't remember for sure. It was like $600, $700, something like that. And I could have got a Taylor for about the same price, maybe even a little bit less, but it didn't have a cutaway. And I really wished I would have, because I really, really like Taylor guitars, but I'll probably never be able to afford one like what I want anyway. You can pronounce the name now. Not necessarily. Don't go off of my pronunciation. I haven't got the faintest idea if that's exactly how you say it. That's just how I've always said it was Takamine. But I've heard it said lots of other ways. All right. So we got that clean. I forgot to grab my conditioner. Okay. So what I'm going to be using for the condition the fingerboard is this stuff here. It's called Guitar Honey, and the the manufacturer, I think it says Gear Sluts on it, but again, I'm blind, so I can't read it. Up there at the top, I think that's what it says. But anyway, this stuff really, really works well. So you don't need to put like a ton of this stuff on here. Just a little bit goes a long way. So I'm just going to just kind of lightly go up the fingerboard with it like that. And now I'm just going to use my finger to kind of spread it around so it gets across all of the rosewood on the fingerboard. Okay, so that's still pretty wet looking. I'm just going to let it soak in because, like I said, it's been a while, so I'm pretty sure that it's gonna suck a lot of that into the pores of the wood, or the pores, the grain of the wood. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have to agree with you, Alan. I know a lot of people really have a big thing for Martins, and don't get me wrong, I I like Martins. I played a lot of really great Martins, a lot of great Gibson acoustic guitars. But Taylor, man, I have a student that's got one. I don't know what model it is. It doesn't have a cutaway. It's not electric. It's just that's the other thing. This is acoustic electric is the other thing that I really liked about it. He paid, I don't know, somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500 for it. And the guitar is amazing. It sounds so good. He's let me borrow it for studio use a couple of times. It's an incredible instrument. And I hope that someday I can get one. So if my faithful viewers out there, if you're ever wondering, gee, what could we get Uncle D for Christmas? Taylor. Okay, so while that's soaking in there, I can go ahead and get this disgusting headstock cleaned up. If I can find there we go. So I'm just going to kind of put my hand here just to kind of shade so I don't spray the cleaner polish back onto the fingerboard. All right, that's not a good idea. There we go. Okay, so now go ahead and get this all cleaned up, which is pretty gross too. Your acoustic is a Carlo Robelli. Never heard of him, or heard of that brand rather. Guild, yeah. I've heard lots of great things about Guild, and I haven't seen a Guild for a million years, and I'm not 100% sure if I ever even played one, or if I did, if it was enough to really have an opinion on it. Even if I did, I can't remember. I mean, it was a long time ago when I played a Guild. Okay. So we can see here that it's still like really wet, but it is soaking it in. I mean, it's not like dripping wet anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and just let that still sit for a little bit. So in the meantime, I'm going to work on the rest of this body. Yeah, there's so much like cosmetic damage to this guitar. The clear coat is like really messed up. I mean, it might be a thing that it could really be buffed, but I'm just not that concerned about it. I stopped really caring a lot about, the cosmetic condition of my guitars a long time ago, because I just seem to have bad luck with keeping them nice. I bought a used Jackson Kelly model a few years back, and it was used, but it was like brand new. I mean, like, they never played it. It was in the case. It was just, I mean, it didn't have any scratches on it. It was just immaculate. And I brought it home, and within 10 minutes of it being in my possession, I smacked the headstock against the ceiling and put a big chip in it. And I was like, oh, this guitar, it was like a 90s model guitar. I don't remember what year for sure. It was like 90, 91, somewhere in that vicinity. And it had been great shape. And then as soon as I get a hold of it, I screw it up. So I just kind of stopped caring, because I will just scratch them up and stuff anyway. And then, not to mention, it kind of gives it, character when they're a little banged up. All right. So the only place that leaves is the back side here. I think I already did the back there, but I just do it again. If I play my guitar as well as I keep it clean. Well, it's funny. My cousin is a bass player, and he's really good. I mean, like, seriously smoking good bass player. And he's like super meticulous about keeping everything clean. Like, we'll play a gig and we'll be, like, if we play our set and then we need to hurry and get off for the next band or whatever. So I'm like all packing up my stuff, and he's over there, like polishing his bass with a diaper. And it's like, come on, man, we got to get out of here. All right. So that has really soaked in quite a bit. There's still, kind of some wetness there, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wipe it off. So use a different spot on the shirt where it doesn't have that cleaner on it. And I'm just going to wipe it off. Now, this stuff, I've noticed that the excess, it kind of will, like, you'll feel it on your fingers after you play, just for like the first day or so, and then by then it's really soaked in. Okay, so That's all done. That's all cleaned up. Where is the cap? So now let's just put the strings back on. Right. Open up their Stay Fresh pouch. All right, and so the Addario strings are actually color coded as to their location. So start off here. We've got brass and a red together. And then if you look on your Stay Fresh package, it actually shows you which, for which position they are in. So the brass is the low E string, and the red, I believe, is the A string, but I need to double check because my memory sucks. Yes. And I figured they would be together, but I've seen other brands where when they'll pair strings up together, but they do them weird. Like it'll be like the low E and the G string together or something weird like that. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. All right, so I'm just going to get this one over here out of the way for right now, this A string. Okay, so on the end of the string, you have the end with the ball. This is the end that goes to the bridge. So all we're going to do is we're just going to stick that down inside the, my saddle fell out. Oh, there it is. Well, I think I have it oriented right. We'll soon find out. That's going to really be a bummer if I don't. So I don't trust myself, so I'm going to check closer here. So if this happens to you, I do is I usually just look, there's like indentations of where the string was sitting. Okay, so this is the bass side. Okay, so God. Oh, for hell's sakes. There we go. All right, back in business. Okay. Thanks for the content. Oh, you're welcome. See what gauge of strings. Usually I use 11s, but I'm actually going to try 10s because I'm thinking that perhaps the less tension maybe will stop this top from coming up and make it a little bit more playable. So I'm just going to give it a shot. Okay, so we take this end with the ball end, and you just stick it down inside the hole there in the bridge. Now you take your bridge pin, and like I said, you got that little channel there, that little notch. You want to have that notch so it's facing forward, so it's facing towards the neck. Well, and so it's like in line with the string. Now you just push it down in and then pull up on the string, and then it'll stop. So when you go to tighten this up, this will start coming out. You have to keep pressing them down. We'll get to that when we get there. Is there really a difference between using a plastic nut and bridge versus bone? Yes. Yeah, there's a sound quality difference. I don't have bone nut, everything on this guitar is just plastic. I just haven't gotten around to upgrading it. Actually, I don't think I own any guitars right now that have any that have bone nuts. I had a Telecaster that I had a bone nut in it, and or no, wait a minute, my Charvel Acoustic has a bone nut. Okay, no, the pins are not hole specific as far as they're all the same diameter, but as a general rule, it's best just to put them back in the same one, so that way you know that they worked there. Because sometimes you'll get one that's wore out if it's been like on a wound string, and then you put an unwound string in it, it won't keep it tight. All right, so now I've got that in there. Now I'm going to come up here to the I guess we'll just do it this way. All right, so now I'm going to bring it up here to put the string on through the tuner. So run it through. I've got to put my nut back in. Okay, so just kind of like what we did on the when we did the electric guitar. When you put the string on, you want to have it so there's like 2 or 3 wraps on here, unless it's a unless you have locking tuners. You don't see a lot of locking tuners on acoustic guitars, but yet again, my Charvel Acoustic does have locking tuners on it. So what I'm going to do, keep dropping my nut. Just going to bend this end up a little bit, so that way it'll stay in place. And now put the winder on here, and I'm holding the string tight here. You want, as you put it on, you want to make sure that it's tight so you don't have any slack or excess winding in there. All right, so since this isn't glued down, it's kind of moving around. And the pin came up a little bit, so I'm just going to push it back down again with my thumb. And I'm not going to put too much tension on here until I have some more strings to keep this in place, because it's kind of wanting to slide it around. Not having a drop of the glue on the nut can cause vibration. Yeah, I've heard that, but I have not had any issues with this guitar. And like I said, I don't remember why I left it this way. It may have been that it was just I was in a situation where I didn't have any choice. I don't remember. But anyhow, it was still working. And if it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. That's my philosophy anyway. Right here. Okay, so now, well, I think we can, if we're not going crazy, we can just continue with this one. Okay, so now we got the A string. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Grab me a pin, ball end, put it down into the hole on the bridge, put the pin in with the slot parallel to the string, shove it in, pull up on it, on the string, and boom, we're there again. So now we're going to come up here and do the same thing again. Go through the tuner. Now, oh, there it is. This is a hell of a lot easier to do when I'm on my bench and not trying to do it like this. But I wanted you guys to be able to see it. Okay. So we're just going to continue to go this way. So now we need our D string. Okay. So our D and G string are wrapped together, and our D string is the black ball, and our G string has the green ball in. So I'm just going to put that one aside for right now. Get a pin, put the ball in, down in, put the pin in, hold, boom. All right, how are we looking? Oh, we're still good on time because we're still going to we want to do that truss rod adjustment. So that's what she said. You could learn how to tune by ear. It's not as difficult as you think that it is. It's just a matter of getting going with it and then practicing it, training your ear. Put a luthier knot on your acoustics at the tuner. I'm not exactly sure what a luthier knot is, but I know what a knot is, and I've seen that before. When people do that, they'll tie a knot, and one, it's completely unnecessary, and two, it just makes it really, really hard to get the strings back off. In my opinion, not a fan of tying a knot. The only time that I think that you should be tying a knot with your strings if you have like a classical guitar and you have to tie the string to the bridge. Oh crap! I went to the store and bought these strings and forgot to buy a set of nylon ball strings for my Ibanez acoustic electric. Guess I'll have to go back. All right, got that one on. Half hitch, yeah, that's the ones that I have seen. That knot. I've never heard it called a luthier's knot before, but yeah, I don't feel that it's necessary to do that, and to me it just makes it like way harder to replace when you have to replace the strings, getting it back off. But that's just my opinion. All right. So I've shown you on 3. I'm going to hurry and just get these other ones on here so that way we don't run out of time before it's time to do to adjust that truss rod. Whoa. Good. It's not an excuse. I just the first time I ever encountered that, it was I had a student. He bought a used guitar like at a pawn shop, and then brought it over to me. Wanted me to kind of set it up and put new strings on it and stuff. And it was such a pain in the ass to get the old ones off, because they were tied on there like that. But again, that's interesting if that's really a thing, like a luthier's nut. Like I said, I've never heard of that before, but I'm far from being a luthier. So what What brand and gauge of strings do you guys like for your acoustic? Oh, for crying out loud. I can't find there we go. Yeah, Rich, I would have to agree with you on that. That the bigger, like that one that Taylor that I told you I borrowed, he always runs 12s on it, and it just sounds really great. But for certain things, man, that's just like horrifically harsh on your fingers. That's why I thought I'd try these out just to kind of see how it sounds. All right, so I've got my last string here to put on. We are in the home stretch. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. Ernie Ball 10 through 52 on your electric. Like I said, I've been using Diodario for a long time, but when I did the strings, that last one where I did them on my electric guitar, there was so many of you guys that were saying about Ernie Ball strings that I actually I picked some up. So I picked up I have a Les Paul that I have a Les Paul that works really well for tuning super low, and it's got like just 10s on it now. So I bought a set of 11 through 54, and I'm going to put them on there and then use it as a D standard and drop C guitar for videos that I have to do for tunings like that. And then I just got the ones that the hybrid set that I normally run 9 through 46. I got a set of those too. So I'll be trying them out and let you guys know what to think. Elixir NanoWeb. What do you think of those? I've heard a lot of mixed things about that. 11 through 52. Take it you're a down tuner guy. Yeah, trying to bend on those. I remember reading this this article. It was like an interview with Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar tech, and you've probably all heard, that Stevie Ray Vaughan would always, he kept putting on heavier strings because he, this, chasing tone. And his guitar tech got to the point where he'd have to lie to him and tell him that he had heavier strings than he did, because he said that it was so much tension, it was just really raising hell with his guitar. So you're using the Elixir 1152s on an acoustic guitar then. Okay. And that was what I asked, but people started talking about electric and ooh, something shiny, and I got distracted. Yeah, 10 through 52 is more or less the next step up from the 9 through 46, because a normal set of 9s is 9 through 42, and a normal set of 10s is 10 through 46. So the 9 through 42 is like the low ends from 10s and the high ends from 9s. And then with what you got, the 10 through 52, the end of the strings are 10s and then the lower ends are 11s. Okay, so as you're tuning back up, these pins sometimes will pop up. So if you hear them pop up or see it, just push it back down with your thumb. You don't need to get a hammer and bang it down. Just press it in. That's all the more it's going to take. It's because the tension of the string against it, and it's on a wedge, it's going to put it at an angle, and that the binding is what holds it together. All right, so now I got to bust out my tuner here. So are you meaning the numbers like in the string numbers, or are you referring to the numbers what you guys are talking about Martin guitars? Because you're talking about the string gauges. They're referring to is how many thousandths of an inch they are in diameter. Already sounds like a billion times better than it did. Okay, so with this, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the electric guitar. So I've got the strings on, I got it tuned up, and now I'm going to, oh crap. Hang on, something I gotta fix here. Okay. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing like we did before. We're going to kind of stretch them out. So just a little bit of the pre-stretching just to kind of help it to stay in tune, you know, a little better. Oh, that sounds good. Now we got it nice and out of tune again. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and retune. Yeah, looks better too. Absolutely. It couldn't have looked any worse. I could have started it on fire and it couldn't have looked worse than it did. Oh yeah, lots of DNA on there. Feel free to make your own joke. Okay, so now that I got those on there, I've got my, make sure my bridge pins are all down. And in my case here, to make sure this nut is centered. It pretty much just kind of goes back into the right place almost automatically. Okay, so now up here on the nut, we're going to come behind the nut here and just press down on each string just to kind of seat it a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to, normally I would snip off the excess strings, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'll do that later. Right now, I just want to show you how to truss rod. Okay, so depending upon the manufacturer of your guitar is going to be dependent upon where your truss rod is located. Generally, on an acoustic guitar, it's in through the sound hole and not up on the headstock like on a lot of electric guitars. Some Fender guitars are down here too. My Telly, at a 62 Telly, you actually had to take the neck off in order to be able to adjust the truss rod, but never had to be adjusted. That guitar was awesome. Okay, so just looking at this already, I can see a huge difference in my action is better just simply for the fact that I don't have so much tension on that top. It's actually looking pretty good, but yeah, I don't know if I really need to do any adjustments on here. So that being said, one of the things that you want to be careful with is if you change, like you change to a different gauge of strings. So you either put on strings that are lighter, you put on ones that are heavier. And then immediately you go, oh, well, I've got heavier gauge strings on, so I need to tighten the truss rod to compensate for it. Don't do that right away. Put the new stuff on and give it a little bit of time and just kind of see what happens on its own. And that's also to be said with adjusting the truss rod. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can adjust it and then just adjust it again. I'll adjust it a little bit, especially if I'm really moving it a lot. And then I'll just let it sit sometimes, overnight and then just see what it looks like tomorrow. It's just not a hard thing to do. And it's just better to do that. Be safe than sorry. All right. So I think in my case here, I'm going to need to slightly loosen this truss rod up a little bit. So I don't know how, God damn it. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see there, but can you see that right between the D and the G string, that little round thing right there? So it's just a hole, an access hole. So you can take your Allen key and then you can just go right in between the D and the G string and fish it in there until it's in place. Now, when you want to use the correct size Allen wrench, don't don't put one in there. Oh, that's close enough. You don't want to do that, because if you screw up the truss rod, it is something that can be replaced, but you're talking big bucks. Fingerboard's got to come off. It's a lot of work. You don't want to do that. It's just better. Allen keys are super cheap. And then they'll wear out. They'll start rounding off. And when it happens, throw it away and get another one. I mean, it's just not worth doing that. So with this, it's just like tightening a bolt or whatever, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So if I crank this down clockwise, it's going to tighten the truss rod, which is going to want to pull the neck back. So I'm going to turn it counterclockwise just a little bit, so that way it loosens it up and allows the strings to pull up on it a little bit. So you see I've got it in there. I'm just going to move this. Holy crap, that is really tight. About 1/8 of a turn, and then let it do its thing. So each time after you do that, you want to retune. Because like I said, the strings in the truss rod, it's like kind of a tug of war. So you want to make sure that you tune. Now, everything is a little bit flat now because the way that I adjusted this. So as I tune up and it puts the pressure on here, it's gonna pull the neck forward a little bit. I'm going to, because I mean, it just really didn't need that much. It's kind of a bummer. I was hoping that it was going to be more drastic, so that way we could really kind of see how everything moves. Maybe we'll do this again, and I'll just use. I've got a crappy acoustic guitar that it's all jacked up, and I just use it. It's in an open tuning, and I screw around with slide on it. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I can't believe how much better it sounds. Wow. Wow, it really sounds better. It's funny is that I'm so surprised by this every time that um, every time that I there we go. Come on, you can go away now. There we go. Every time I do this, I'm always surprised. Oh my gosh, it sounds so much better. I wish I would just could just train myself to do this more often. I mean, it's cheap. It's it's not like buying strings is really expensive. Yeah, huge difference. So the bottle of polish, like I said, it was like $7, and this will last me quite a while. You can do, if it's just you and you've just got a couple of guitars, this thing will last you for years, as long as you keep the cap on it, don't let it evaporate. So yeah, that's like $7, and then the strings were like $6, I think, $6 or $7. What else can you do for that kind of money? It is such an upgrade like this. All right. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. One thing quick too, just for any of you that weren't here when I did this on the electric guitar. So you want to snip the string off nice and close. And then I like to take a pair of needle nose pliers and just take that little excess piece of string that's there and just bend it so it is there we go. Now I've got it bent, so when you're pushing your fingers around here, you can't feel it. When you cut them off, they're like really sharp, and I like filleted my arm open really bad. This guitar stand here, I was sitting over there when teaching a private lesson, and I reached across to do something, and this guitar over here, one of the strings it caught and it just cut me open, and so ever since then I take the extra 2 minutes to bend them all out of the way so it's not super sharp and gnarly. Moody Blues. Are you asking me if I was playing Moody Blues? That last song I was doing. It does kind of sound like that, but it's actually Behind Blue Eyes. That's the Who. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and these, and we are out of time, overtime today. That's all right. Had a good time. I'd like to thank everybody that came out and watched. Really appreciate it. And if you like the content that I'm doing and stuff, hit that like button, leave a comment. Let me know that you like it. Namely, you're letting the higher ups know that you like me. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content that we upload. We upload 2 or 3 times a week, and a lot of the videos that are uploaded are me. Sometimes it's other instructors, but a lot of the time it is me. I just actually shot some videos today for a 3-part series that I can't give away exactly what it is, but it should be a lot of fun. It was really fun making the videos. But yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you. And then for those of you who come, there's some of you guys, I see your names, every week. Jersey Red, I mean, you're like OG. You've been here since day one. Rich, I see you on here a lot. Alan, for sure. Rick, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you came out. But yeah, I know every YouTuber's constantly, subscribe, like, yada, yada, yada. But it's the truth. You really got to do all that stuff to get the YouTube algorithm to work in your favor and all that good stuff. So yeah, again, thanks everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. And I'll be here tomorrow night. Don't ask me what we're going to do because I have no idea. Could be some kind of a lesson, could be, I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out tomorrow. And again, yeah, everybody, thanks for coming out. Whoa, really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.